Hello, welcome to the TWICH podcast. This is Diane Woolrich that I'm talking to today. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. You're a counsellor and an ADHD coach, which sounds fascinating. So tell me a little bit then about the ADHD coaching and how you got into that, because that sounds really interesting.
ADHD coaching. So being a therapist for 20-something years, but the counselling business is called Being True to You. And I was getting lots of neurodivergent clients.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still getting lots of neurodivergent clients. I was noticing that maybe sometimes, we're going back and we're doing some healing work, the beautiful healing work of counselling. But then some things were of more of, thinking maybe more forward moving of this is, what the client's needing. But then I was thought, actually, I don't really know enough. Even counselling, I don't really know enough about ADHD. So I just started a course of ADHD fundamentals, so learning more about it. And I can say, and also having a neurodivergent daughter at home. So learning for professionally and learning for home life.
Personally, it's a very misunderstood condition, actually, isn't it? Would you say?
Yes, really. So really, typically, and in ladies, females, because I guess as a parent of a neurodivergent daughter, so my daughter is ADHD, autism and ADHD. From noticing, so she's my middle child, and I've got, two either side. So I wasn't new to parenting and noticing things that were different as in her waiting. So I was bringing it up at school that is there something I thought maybe autism, and because didn't know much about ADHD at all at that time. And I was told by the SEN that there's a special educational needs teacher that girls don't have autism.
Wow, goodness me. How long ago was that?
So that was in early 20s. So
Wow.
she's 23 now, so girls don't have autism.
Girls don't have autism, right? Okay. I mean, what's fascinating about that is only 20 years ago. So that's not long. I thought you were going to say, you wouldn't have had a child, but you certainly don't look old enough to have an older child than that. But I was thinking it must have been the 19 something you're about to say, but early 20.
Early 20.
Yeah. Wow. So you were told that girls don't have autism, so that's not what the issues are. But obviously you were noticing more things then. And
I was noticing differences in her, just like behaviours, but it was for me, it was centred more around autism at that time.
Yeah.
What I was learning, we'd asked for a referral for outside for help. So I knew about all these things. So I was asking as much as I could. So we did have a referral to CAMHS, and CAMHS said, there is no difference in my daughter. It's my parenting.
That made you feel good,
Absolutely.
didn't it?
So it's my parenting. So I go along for the parenting because I think, okay, I'll see.
Be open to it.
Yeah. So I went, and I think, gosh, this isn't. It's not. They're all treated exactly the same, but one child won't wait for if they asked for a biscuit, and I was getting up to get the biscuit. 2 children would wait, 1 wouldn't wait. How can that be my parenting? I'm not sure about that. So I went along and I decided not to go back. Now I'm learning that's a very common story for women, for mothers. And typically mothers are, it's your parenting style.
You've done something wrong.
You've done something wrong. Right. So I either choose to internalise that, or I think actually this isn't. Genuinely, this is not me.
I guess you have to be quite a strong person to be able to do that, though, don't you, as well? Because if all the medical professionals and people are saying to you, it's you, it's nothing to do. A lot of women, a lot of mums or whatever will go, well, it must be. It must be. Sure. And go along that, path.
I'm learning now that a lot of mothers have been traumatised by that experience. As we know, neurodiversity is genetic. Mm-hmm. If the mother is neurodiverse and she's been situated, she's been put in those situations, she's already going to have lots of, her own. So, re-traumatise it, another layer of trauma added by the professional.
And the lack of understanding. Would you say So 23 years or 20 odd years have passed. Are things better? Parents now finding that they are being listened to a little bit more, or is it the same? I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you get.
I don't know. I don't know.
No.
I don't know really. Some would say, I mean, I've had somebody actually quite recently said to me, well, this autism thing, that they weren't aware that I'd got neurodiverse children. They said, do you think it's his parenting thing? It is absolutely not parenting.
This is the brain.
Absolutely not parenting.
I guess what might be helpful actually at this point, because you've done courses and you understand it, for anyone listening to this podcast who doesn't know what ADHD is and what is wondering, is it parenting and is autism? Can you explain a little bit? I'm not asking you to go into this massive science of it, but what is ADHD and why is the brain working in this way, in this difference, if you like? I mean, I say difference, actually. The more people you talk to, I'm wondering if it's, we call it neurodiverse and neurotypical, but I'm wondering if there's more people who are neurodiverse, actually, when you start to talk to people. But what is it? Tell us what it is.
So with the neurodiverse is an umbrella term conditions. So if people would know of autism, ADHD, epilepsy, Tourette's, dyslexia, dyspraxia, all come under the umbrella term of neurodivergence. But we're talking about ADHD. So ADHD is a word that really people are hearing more of.
So please tell us. So we know that ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's a lot to unpick there. But just explain briefly what it actually is.
So ADHD has 3 subtypes. ADHD 1 is the inattentive type. ADHD 2 is impulsivity and hyperactivity. And ADHD 3 is, the subtype 3 is the combined presentation. So say typically they'd say that girls would have ADHD 1, the inattentive, and boys that are the more noticeable, so the hyperactivity, the impulsivity. So it's, I guess, perhaps of the reason why the females go undiagnosed, because they're not outwardly displaying their hyperactivity and their impulsivity. So ADHD 1, the inattentive, and then the combined presentation. So the combined presentation is parts of all 3.
Yeah.
And whether we say boys are very outward going with their symptoms of.
Yes. Yeah. So you kind of notice it more, and schools are then going. I guess what schools then do is they pick up on the behaviours, don't they? And I wonder if that's why then parenting is blamed, because, a lot of the things you see, like the impulsivity, for example, someone with ADHD that has that, I imagine they have a thought, I could shout something out now. And they don't have a neurotypical brain might go, no, don't shout that out now. Whereas an ADHD brain will go, yeah, go on then. And so teachers are seeing that perhaps, or other professionals, and then going, well, is that because they're not stopped at home? And is that why parents, do you think, are getting blamed? Because they're looking at the pure behaviour and not maybe what's behind it, perhaps?
Well, sure, it makes sense, doesn't it? If they see it and seeing as though it's not sitting still, because that's a social norm, isn't it? Of sitting still and sitting and paying attention. Sitting still, paying attention, behaving as the social norms in the classroom. But so the boys are more outwardly, the diagnosis, males getting diagnosed. I'm hearing stories rather of males getting diagnosed much later.
Right. Okay.
So males that have struggled to.
Yeah.
But females who in the impulsivity and the hyperactivity, they're more internal.
Okay, right. So you're not seeing them.
We're not seeing them. The hyperactivity of the overthinking, the racing thoughts, the anxiety, the palpitations, the worry. So we're not seeing those.
No, because that's all happening in here.
Absolutely.
So. And in terms of sort of the neurochemistry of it, just to make it very clear for any listeners, because you do get asked this, and you've just alluded to the fact that people go, well, why are we seeing more of it? Is it parenting? Is it this? Is it that? It is actually the chemicals in the brain, isn't it? That you're born with it. It's not something that happens to you later on. It's a condition that you're born with, and that's that.
It's a deficit of the of dopamine. The dopamine is the motivational drug, the motivational hormone. So the impulsivity of getting the spike in the
that you need.
So that's also motivation for of being able to get up and do start to initiate a task, to say do a job, but not, a basic job in the house, or even getting up and getting dressed or getting out of bed. So the lack of dopamine is that, that the hormone that gets you up and do
Gets
things.
you going.
Yeah.
So, and it must be so frustrating for someone. You said that your daughter is diagnosed now with autism and ADHD. It must be so frustrating when you don't know why you're perhaps different from your siblings, or why you're not motivated to do things, or why you find everything overwhelming. And when you get that diagnosis, was that a relief for her, and people that you talk to with ADHD? Are they pleased to get that diagnosis in the end?
I think there's a relief, but there's a stage of something like a grief process of the if only, and because we talk about, so the lack of dopamine, so the lack of motivation to be getting up, and the forgetfulness. So clusters of, character flaws, if they've been called they're lazy, or the dozy blonde that doesn't pay attention, drifts off, whatever derogatory word, but seen as a character flaw. So they've been judging themselves all their lives. And then to have a diagnosis and to have an understanding, and that isn't, that's because of how their brains work.
Yeah.
So they spent years of trying to fit in and comparing themselves. Really quite, so it's lowering of
self-esteem and all of that.
Self-esteem, yeah. And the trauma responses to all of those, they're being out in the world.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah, there's a lot, isn't there? A lot to unpick there for people. So you went on the course, found out more about ADHD. Obviously, they're supporting your daughter, and thought, actually, I guess you thought there's more people to support here. Is that? Tell me a little bit about how you then set up the group and how that came about.
Because of, really. So we'd known with my daughter, we'd been looking for places for her to go and to socialise, and to be able to, if we know of other people going through the same experience, the connection with that somebody really understands me.
Yeah.
We were looking for that in the Nantwich area, and it was difficult for us to access. So for us, it would only be going to a great place, Space for Autism in Congleton. But that would be an hour drive for us, and then, an hour back on a Monday evening. It's a great place, but it was the difficulty for us. So, once she was diagnosed, looking for help and support and locally wasn't there. So I decided to set
something up. And you specifically have set it up for women because of that misunderstanding and that misdiagnosis, or not getting a diagnosis, I assume, have you? You've just thought women aren't getting the support all these years before, so that's why I'm going to do it. Is that your thought process around that?
Well, the thought process really was sort of evolving, really, if you like. It was started last April, and how that happened, I'd had this thought of starting our group for a long time, and then I had an email from a graduate. So she'd done a master's in psychology, Jess Bratt, and she wanted to come with work experience. So I said I'd got no work experience, got no paid opportunities, but would she be interested in supporting this group? And she said yes. So Jess has been instrumental with helping me set things up. She's great. She does all social media and things.
It's very helpful, isn't it?
Absolutely. She's incredible. Yeah. She's really supportive. That's how it started. So we started in April last year, and it was just a group that would come together. We'd maybe just have a coffee, chat, and we'd got some board games, we'd got some colouring, because we know of difficulties communicating. So
a bit more going on, and
and then it started that, really, and we didn't quite know how it was going to be. But then having the group of ladies and understanding ADHD more, is they are an incredibly creative bunch of people.
I can imagine, yes.
Absolutely overwhelming. So while we talk about creativity in arts and pottery and painting and all of those wonderful things, they're really quite creative problem solvers.
Yeah.
But for us in our group, we've had ladies that have come and done sessions on the ladies themselves
running. Yeah, fabulous.
So we've had pottery sessions, we've had painting, we've had Christmas wreath making, flower arranging for Easter. Last night was fantastic. So one of the very young girls, she did a British Sign Language.
Oh, cool. That's great,
Absolutely
isn't it?
phenomenal. Yeah,
really, well, very diverse actually
Yeah.
of activities. So tell me when and where you meet. Tell me a little bit more about the actual group then.
So the actual group, we meet at Regent's Park on every other Wednesday evening from 7 till 8:30. It's £3 for coffee, and generally it's Jess's Sweet Treat Baking. So there's three of us now. The other person is Andrea O'Neill, and Andrea was my daughter's support worker at the classroom assistant.
Lovely,
So
right?
then, so she was a classroom assistant, and then has evolved, has come along with us all the way.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is your daughter part of the group? Does she join
she's
us?
part of the group.
She, yeah, lovely.
So it was the kind of like of support and building friendships, connecting somewhere, something to do social.
Yeah.
And it turns, so next week my daughter is going away with one of the other ladies in the group, going away on holiday.
Oh, how nice. So friendships are
Friendships
formed
are
from the
forming.
group. How lovely.
We-
And how do you, like if someone's interested, how do they join the group, and do they have to have a diagnosis presumably of ADHD or an interest? What's the criteria to join your group?
So they just have to recognise themselves as, or identify themselves as neurodiverse. So we have autism ladies, or ADHD. We have ladies that are dyspraxic, dyscalculia, and so ladies over 18, those who identify as female, are welcome to come to the group.
Fabulous. That's great.
Yes. We're called Unmasked Together.
That's brilliant.
Why we say unmasked? Because of the effort that females go into is trying to fit in.
Yes, which we call masking in schools. Yeah.
So their real effort. So again, difference with that's another reason possibly that females are missed, because of the masking of trying to fit in.
Yeah. Is there some evidence that females are somehow a little bit better at doing that then, that they socially want to fit? Is there something psychological going on there that females are more likely to try and fit in? Is that why we're not seeing it then in schools as much?
I think it's this socially constructed idea, isn't it? Of females, little girls sit nicely, don't they?
They don't fidget.
They sit nicely, quietly in the corner.
And if they're not, what's wrong?
And they actually also in the female brain, if we're thinking about it, the difference between female and male is the capacity to hold it all in. The male is like a 1-ton truck, whereas a female is a 3-ton truck, so they can hold it in more, females can.
Okay. And that's to do with social construct, or is that to do with the brain? Is that
to do with the brain?
Is it? Oh, how fascinating.
So they have of keeping it and holding it together. But I guess also biology, also I would argue of the socially constructed.
How we're supposed. And I wonder if that will get better in terms of we are less. Are we? I don't know. I'm going to ask the question. I'm just making a little bit of assumption. Are we a little bit less biased around that now in schools, where girls have to behave like this and boys have to behave like this? Or do you think that is still happening in society? Are we still bound by that? It's almost Victorian, isn't it? Are we still bound by that, do you think? Or is that getting better from your experience?
I honestly don't know. One would like to think so, but we don't know.
No.
People come with their own stories, don't they, of judgments and based on their own experiences.
Yes. And I guess in your group, that's where you can share those stories if you want to, experiences.
So, and that's the beauty of it, because they're all very open people and accepting. It's just genuinely a wonderful place to be. They're all accepting and supporting of each other.
That's nice, isn't it?
So if you're coming in for the first time, you will be welcomed, but you'll be welcomed by myself, Jess and Andrea. but you'll be welcomed by the group members.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
lovely. And do you think that, because people do talk, I've said to you before we came on air that I work in a special school, and people ask me a lot, and probably ask you, is it becoming more recognised? There's a lot more talk of ADHD now, isn't there, and autism? More people are being diagnosed and recognised later in life, which is like your daughter, for example. Why do you think that is? Are we getting better at it? Is it more common? Are more people brains sort of evolving like this, or are doctors and so on just getting better? Are we getting better at recognizing those things in ourselves and saying, actually, I think there's something? Why are we getting more diagnosis, I suppose, is the question, in your opinion?
I think it's only up in 2018 do they recognise it, get a diagnosis in adults.
Really? Only since
ADHD.
2018?
Yeah, ADHD. Because prior to that, it was seen as you'd grow out of it,
Right.
these behaviours. And there is one of the benefits, really, I suppose, of social media is that people are talking about it more. And through their talking about it more is people are recognising themselves in.
This is what I've been doing all my
Yes.
life, and perhaps it's this rather than.
Yeah.
That's interesting, yeah.
But whilst that's useful, is then the person that this is another story that I'm hearing is people are going to the GPs for wanting, and this isn't specifically just to our area, is they're saying, oh, you've got the TikTok phenomenon. So another of potential response, trauma response of being not heard.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, because I guess when more information's out there, you do start to recognise symptoms. You might have had your whole life of, why have I felt like this and why have I behaved like that? Oh, there's an answer, but they're not, like you say, not being heard by a GP or somebody because they're like, oh, you've just seen it on social media. You just want a label or whatever. So yeah, that must be really difficult for people.
It's very difficult for people, really. And again, the judgment's thinking, oh gosh, I'm being a pain. And they're constantly judging themselves. Really, I'm pain. I'm being pathetic. I'm just being another one of those judgments they call themselves. They'll say that I'm too much. I'm too much for people. So another judgment.
Yeah. But something you alluded to there as well, which I think is really fascinating about things like ADHD, is the creativity and sometimes obviously hyperfocus can be a difficulty for people with ADHD. But it can also create some wonderful things, can't it? And like you say, I think the neurodivergent brain is really interesting. And actually, I think hopefully in the future, employers might be a bit more like, actually, we need people with that type of brain.
Yeah, because their creativity is, for me, it's been mind blowing. I've been in that of how the problem solvers thinking outside of the box. They say they're very good at blue light professions, the police and ambulance and the emergency services, because they can solve the problem. The creativity of them. Say for our group is the painting, the artwork that they're producing.
Sounds absolutely lovely. And what have you got happening in the group? I know you brought a flyer with you, didn't you? Or did you want to tell us what's happening in the group in the next few weeks, or things that are happening soon?
As well as, so I've recently qualified as the ADHD coach, and we've already started. We meet every other Wednesday.
Yeah.
And in the Wednesday we're not meeting, we've started an ADHD group coaching program.
Oh, have you? Fab.
That's an 8-week program. So they're learning and more about. So it does basically the same principle of being true to you. My counselling practice is we can't change it. So we have to learn to accept and work with.
Yes.
Not work against. So the program is really about learning to understand the ADHD brain, comorbidities co-conditions that go along with it, working at ways of being able to manage time and productivity, improving sleep. So all of basic of the knowledge for accept themselves.
That's fantastic. So people who, again, identify as being neurodivergent can join that course, if you will, that 8-week course, and learn a bit more about themselves and how to manage. That sounds fabulous.
Yeah, we're going to be starting another one in the autumn.
Oh, fab. That's good. And how would people get in touch with you and be able to join that group?
Jess is very good at social media, as we say, so it's advertised on our Instagram and Facebook page, Unmasked Together, or you can email me at diane@beingtruetoyou.co.uk.
The social media is Unmasked.
Unmasked Together.
Unmasked Together. Lovely. So if people go on Instagram or Facebook, they should be able to find you through that as well. So that sounds fabulous. That sounds really good. The only other thing that I wanted to touch on was you mentioned that people who identify as female as well, and there seems to be quite a strong link at the moment with gender and neurodiversity as well, isn't there? Which is fascinating to me, and I wonder if that again is to do with brain, or is that to do with identity? Do any of the women talk to you about that have now identify as women, and the journey that they've had through sort of gender identity and neurodiversity as well?
I haven't had the privilege of that in my counselling work with the link with the neurodiversity or in the group as yet. But we are an open, inclusive group, and everyone is really, truly welcome.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. And should people want to talk about that, then they would be.
Absolutely.
It would be a very open space, a safe space for them.
A very safe
to be
space.
able to do that. Yeah. That's really lovely.
We have our behaviours of what isn't acceptable, and and they are. But the ladies are, they've been subjected to things themselves, so they're very welcoming.
Yeah, they're not going to make someone else feel how they felt in the past. So that's great. So that's fantastic. So if people want to join, can they just show up on every other Wednesday? They check social media perhaps and get in touch on the number.
They can show up, because if they come to Regent's Park, there's one of us will be outside in our bright pink t-shirts.
Excellent.
You'll find us. So either myself, Jess, or Andrea will be outside in our pink top. So to show the way, because it can be a bit.
It's daunting joining a new group, isn't it? Or turning up somewhere on a car park and because at Regent's Park there's sort of lots of little businesses, aren't there, and lots of places you could go. That's nice that you're out there in a pink t-shirt saying, "Here we are."
Yeah, we'll lead you in.
That's great, and I hope it grows from strength to strength. It sounds fantastic.
We have now 40 people, 40 ladies come.
But you had to get a bigger room, didn't you? We had to change rooms.
We have changed rooms, yes, but not all 40 come together. So you don't have to come every week. You can come in and out as you please.
That's also nice, isn't it? You're not sort of like, once you join something and then you're like, oh, I've got to go every single time.
Absolutely.
It's just when you feel you want to dip in or whatever.
Sure, because we know neurodiverse is the energy. It takes a lot of energy to negotiate life.
Yeah.
So if you're exhausted and you can't come that week, that's absolutely fine. Come whenever you like.
Brilliant. And it's 18 plus, isn't it? 18 plus.
Yeah.
Okay, fab. So we need someone to set up a men's group, really, don't we, as well?
Well, do you know, I have been approached. I have definitely been approached, and it will come. It will come. It's just at the minute we're just trying to get it going, because we're a community interest company. Hence, we're trying to get some money. Businesses in Nantwich have been very supportive of. We've had a raffle to raise some money. We're having Zero Ads are in crew of making us a banner for the Nantwich show.
Fab.
Liz has been great helping us to get into the show. So we've had lots of support, but it's going back to the men's group. It will come.
Yeah. Okay, so watch this space. Maybe in a few months you can come back on the podcast and tell us about the men's group.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll see. Yeah. But thank you so much, Diane, for coming here today and telling us all about it. Sounds fantastic. Well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, privileged to be here and to tell everybody about our group.
1, 2.